Virginia Tortson. I'm Dean of Graduate Studies and Research, and one of my annual responsibilities is to organize the Raft Debate, which is one of my favorite things to do. This year, we once again have 4 fabulous participants. So, representing the social sciences, we have John Lopresti from the Department of Economics. Representing the computational and natural sciences, we have Drew Lamar from biology. Representing the humanities and fine arts, we have Annie Blazer from religious studies.
Uh-oh.
And this year's devil's advocate is Michael Halloran, who is a professor of classical studies. And my job is to try to manage this crew. So a couple of words about the rules. Each participant is going to go in the order in which they're seated. They get 7 minutes to make their case. We'll then have 3 minutes for each of them to make rebuttal remarks. And then at the end, I'll take a limited number of questions from the audience. So now, let me describe the setup. What we have is 3 professors who have been stranded on a desert island. And there is a raft, but it only holds 1. So, being professors, they choose to admire the problem rather than actually solve it. And so they debate. And what they're debating is which of their areas should be saved to save humanity. And your job at the end of the debate is to help me decide if they were persuasive. But we've got a spoiler because we have the devil's advocate. And the devil's advocate is here to argue that none of them should be saved. So, with that by way of setup, we're going to go ahead and start. And I asked John Lopresti to be the first participant.
Hey, team. So first I wanted to wish my fellow survivors good luck. And I wanted to say, as someone in what I'm pretty sure is a highly flammable suit, if we could all abide by the no open flames rule, that would be fantastic. So as you may know, and if not, as you could tell by my outfit, so the social sciences are known to be extremely humble. Okay? So we understand how complicated the world is, how hard it is to predict how people are going to behave, and as a result, we're filled with this sense of self-doubt. And so when I was asked to participate tonight and say, well, why should the social sciences be allowed off the island, my first thought was, should we be? I don't know. And so then I did what good social scientists do. I thought about the alternatives. Okay? And that's what I want to walk you through right now. I want to talk about your options. So one option, you could vote for the natural sciences. Settle down. The natural sciences, they've done a lot of cool stuff, right? So medical advances that have lengthened and improved human lives around the world, improvements in production technology that have helped to bring billions of people out of poverty over hundreds of years, Fortnite, lots and lots of cool stuff. But how much of this happens in a world without the social sciences? So historically, one of the largest providers of funding for the natural sciences is governments. That's the social sciences. So if you look at yesterday's paper, for instance, after you read about Aunt Becky and college scandals, you will flip back and you will see funding cuts to the NIH, to the NSF. This matters, and it's a social science issue. It matters because it's going to affect the ability of natural sciences to conduct important research. Okay? The World Wide Web, 30th anniversary this week, Google tells me. Okay? This is developed through CERN, an organization that requires cooperation from 22 member governments. That's a social sciences issue. That doesn't happen without the social sciences. Okay? Slightly different context, intellectual property protection. This is designed, promoted, and enforced by the social sciences. It's done in order to encourage innovation among the natural sciences. So I'm a trade economist. The World Trade Organization has spent years negotiating the agreement on trade-related intellectual property, the TRIPS agreement. This is an enormously complicated thing. If you go to swim, and if you take your wife, like I did, and make her stand there with you, you will see books, and books, and more books, and still more books on trade-related intellectual property issues. These things matter for the natural sciences, but they don't happen by themselves. Intellectual property is promoted by the social sciences. Okay? So it's important to remember, as we do all of this, the role that we play in enabling the natural sciences to succeed. Okay? So that's option one. Option two is we could vote for the humanities. So this is the domain. Yes? Sure. Humanities is the domain of art, of culture, of history, of beauty. Like, pretty good stuff if that's your thing. Okay? But what happens in a world where that's all that we have? What is that world like? I can actually tell you because I happen to have seen it. So when I was younger, my parents would take me, I would say drag me, but they'd take me to a town, true story, called Story, Indiana. In Story, Indiana, there is this beautiful little lodge called the Story Inn. The Story Inn is this really interesting architectural building. You go inside, there's lots of great antique furniture, there's local art, there's a sense of the culture and the history of the place. There's a great restaurant there. I brought you menus from their winter menu, so you can see just how great this is. I didn't print one for all of you, I'm sorry. You'll have to share. But you can look and see all that the Story Inn has to offer you. So, sorry. Okay. So the problem with this is that when you step outside of the Story Inn, a place that a humanist would be proud of, you realize that it is quite literally the only business in Story, Indiana. There is not a single other business there. The commercial developments of the 20th and now 21st century that the social sciences have helped to provide have completely passed this town by. As a result, the population of Story, Indiana is 3 humans and 4 dogs. It's true, you can look it up. The point, in addition to promoting tourism to central Indiana, which I highly recommend, it's a fantastic place, is to make you understand that a world with the humanities and nothing else is maybe a place you'd like to visit, but not a place that many people actually want to live. So that's option 2. Your third option is to vote for none of us. Keep us all here and vote for the devil's advocate.
All right.
I'm going to argue that this is actually the worst possible choice. So I want you to envision this world. Okay? You've kept 3 academics on an island together. We have nothing to fill our days, and we're bitter. Do you understand how many angry emails we're going to send you? We are going to combine our powers, Captain Planet style. We're going to form committees. We'll hold panel discussions on the problem. We'll form subcommittees. This is going to be difficult because there will be 3 of us, but we will get it done because we're academics and that's what we do. So why should you vote for the social sciences? You should vote for the social sciences because we are a discipline that cares about people. We care about you first and foremost. We care about the way you think. We care about the way you interact with one another. We care about your economic well-being. We care about the institutions that surround and support you. The great things that the humanities and the natural sciences do are great because of the way that they affect people, the way that they affect you. So let's just cut out the middlemen and vote for the discipline that cares exclusively and explicitly about you. Thank you.
Professor Lamar, you're next.
About time. All right. So apparently, medical advances are not that big of a deal. So, let's bring out the hands of death, shall we? Okay. So we're going to play a little bit of active learning strategies here. Okay, here we go. So this is measles. Everyone see this? I am going to infect one of you people. All right? Preferably in the middle. So heads up. Okay, here's how we're going to play this game. Measles, as you may not know, we have vaccines for, correct? Yes. Yeah. So vaccines are pretty great, right? Yeah, that's right. So, but what's happening with vaccinations these days? Something's happening, right? Okay, so let's just try to do a little game here. Who has the measles right now? Highly contagious. I think it's like 9 of 10 people that are in contact with someone that has measles will get infected. So what we're going to do is, if you are in front of or beside the person with the measles, I want you to raise your hand. Congratulations, you are now infected as well. Okay? And then I want those people next to those with their hands raise their hand as well. Okay? Go ahead. All right. And then keep going. And you can cross this chasm, which we'll call an ocean. Airplanes go over. Boom. There you go. Up, up, up. Is it going over here yet? Come on. There we go. Infection is spreading. Very nice. That is an unvaccinated world for you right there. Congratulations. You all have measles. All right. Yay! Isn't that great? All right. So, but don't worry. I will save you. Okay? Because from the hands of death, I am going to give you vaccines. Okay, so I'll share the vaccines with everybody. Congratulations. You want to get your vaccine? All right, you two, don't leave anybody out. All right, heads up. They're coming. Don't worry, they're plush. They won't hurt. Go ahead, grab your vaccine, everybody. I don't know. Nah, oh, see, that's not quite right. Yeah, okay, yeah, so make sure I vaccinate my family, all right? See, unfortunately, I don't have enough for everybody. So let's just make sure we get this out there. Everybody getting a vaccine? Y'all want a vaccine? I got a holder bag here. Here we go. All right, everyone, hands up, hands up. Woo, here we go. Okay, so I'm trying to equally vaccinate you all, but I'm having a little bit of trouble. So what I would ask you to do, to make sure that this is well mixed, can you please throw your vaccine in the air? No one wants to do that. Okay, really? I mean, they are very cute, but okay, that's pretty good. We'll go with that. All right. Okay, you ready? Let's try this again. All right. Did you not get one? You got 2? All right. Who has the measles? Okay. Put your hand up. No, not everybody.
No, the original.
Okay, no. Okay, now you don't have the measles. Who actually has the plush measles? There you go. We're going to try it again. Ready? If you're next to the person with the measles and you don't have a vaccine, raise your hand. Okay, let's see if it passes. Keep going. Is it stopping? Is it going? Is it passing? Is it?
Oh, no.
Okay, so I have to be honest. I haven't actually tried this ahead of time. Raise your hand if you did not get the measles this time. Oh, that's pretty good. All right. So this is what's called herd immunity, okay? The idea here is that if you vaccinate enough people, and not even all the people, you will still protect them, okay? Now, here's the deal. And I think you've noticed this. Speaking of governments, something is happening, okay? Science, natural sciences specifically, are under attack, okay? So here's the thing. The Earth is not flat. I'm not sure if you knew that, okay? Vaccines work. There is overwhelming evidence that they are safe and effective, okay? We have been to the moon. I'm not sure if you think that or not. We have been to the moon, okay? Some things like, climate change, it's kind of a big deal, all right? Anthropogenic climate change, tons of evidence for it, okay? And, just to, make you a little bit excited about this, there's a student in Sweden. Has anyone heard of this student? name is Greta? Yeah. So she is 15 years old, and she is skipping school on Fridays to essentially protest the government social science institution that is not doing enough to deal with climate change, okay? We are under attack. Natural sciences are under attack. There is misinformation everywhere, okay? You must save the natural sciences if you want to survive. We have got to fight the misinformation. And I'll even end early on that. Thank you. I've got a few more.
Professor Blazer.
Humanities! Okay! Humanities! We got any English majors in the house? Are there English majors here? I hear you! Give it up for literary criticism! What about philosophy majors? We got philosophy majors in the house? There's one! Let's give that guy a hand!
There's one.
Logic and reasoning! What about music? What about theater? We got music and theater folks here? All right, I want you to say as loud as you can. I can't. I have rehearsal. What about art and art history? What about film and media studies? Are you here? Are you here? You're here. Let's give it up for the creative process. And what about the liberal arts? Did you come to a liberal arts college? Did you choose to attend a liberal arts college? Let's try this. There we go. Now we're talking. All right. Are you ready? I say critical, you say thinking. Critical. Thinking. Critical. Thinking. I say historical, you say context. Historical. Context. Historical. Context. Critical. Thinking. Historical. Context. Yes! Now we're talking, people. All right. My assistants are moving my demonstration equipment to the front of the stage.
Trying to block the natural science.
You're not important at this moment. You already vaccinated everybody. All right, I have a question for you. Are you ready, people? Are you ready to learn stuff? Yeah! All right, we're going to do a little historical context and a little critical thinking about the raft debate. So, the raft debate likely emerged from balloon debates, a popular practice in Europe in the 1990s. A balloon debate was an academic performance such as this, where the premise is that scholars are trapped in a hot air balloon that is sinking, and one of them must be thrown out to save the rest. So the scholars make the case for why they're valuable, and then their colleagues decide that one of them is not valuable and throw them out of the balloon. If this reminds you of something, it should, because it's basically the plot of Survivor. So, Survivor began in 1997 in Sweden and came to the US in the year 2000. The plot of Survivor is a bunch of folks are on an island, and they decide who among them is worthless and should go home. Given this information, you may be curious, when did William and Mary start having raft debates? Well, 2002 is when William and Mary first began having raft debates. This is, if you can't do the math, in the second or third season of Survivor, when reality TV was well known. Now, to understand balloon debates, the raft debate, and Survivor, we have to take a step back and look at the underlying system that informs all of these practices. And that is, wait for it, neoliberal capitalism. Neoliberal capitalism is the belief that free markets and competition are the best system for humanity. This leads to the commodification of all things, including people. Recently, in 2018, the AAUP, which stands for the American Association of University Professors, published an article saying, entitled, "The Tyranny of Neoliberalism in the American Academic Profession." In that article, they detail 4 features of the ideal worker. The ideal worker is flexible under challenging conditions, competitive, produces quantifiable and measurable outcomes, and is emotionally detached from their work. Given this information, oh, thank you, good strategy. Given this information, you may be curious, who usually wins the raft debate? Well, since William and Mary has had 16 raft debates, natural and computational sciences have won 8 of them. The Devil's Advocate has won 4, Humanities have won 3, and social sciences have won 1. Now, rather than paying attention to the folks scrambling for crumbs down here, we should be asking ourselves, why do natural and computational sciences win as many as everyone else combined? Well, the answer is neoliberal capitalism. I'm going to give you the 6 words that sum up neoliberal capitalism and the tyranny that we all live under because of it. First uttered by season 1 runner-up and survivor, Kelly Rigglesworth. I'm not here to make friends. But the humanities people, we're here to make friends. We came to college to make friends. Did you come to college to make friends? Are you with your friends? Give your friends a high five. Friends really matter. Humanities says everyone has inherent dignity and worth regardless of their quantifiable outcomes. And so I say, let's make the raft debate really about friendship tonight. And I say, if there's not room for 4 in that raft, let's build a new raft. We can work together, we can collaborate, we can be friends. Humanities doesn't want to leave behind our colleagues on an island to be forced to eat each other and form subcommittees. We want to collaborate and recognize the inherent worth of all persons. Thank you.
Quite a mess.
Great job.
And now the Devil's Advocate, Professor Halloran.
No, turn that off. I am not the devil.
What?
I am the devil's advocate. And in fact, I'm not really his advocate. I'm just the guy who argues the other side of the question. Now, my 3 fellow islanders have each made a great effort to defend and promote their academic disciplines. But really, come on. Where to begin? The social sciences sound promising. You have 2 good words, social and science. And if you look at the 19th and 20th century, there have been some amazing figures. Weber, Marx, Durkheim, all social scientists. But when you think of what they've been accomplishing lately, not so much. Let's go back to 2008. There were all these really smart economists and their friends in finance saying, let's develop these instruments that are insurmountable, not understandable, and will make a lot of money. And they did until September 2008, when they crashed the world's economy. The only thing it proved that they could predict was not how well they would fare, but they did were able to predict how little accountability they would have for any of their gross actions. So that doesn't sound very promising. Now, Sigmund Freud, maybe the most famous social scientist of all time, a fascinating guy. He gave us the Oedipus complex. Well, he explained the Oedipus complex. I'm not sure he gave it to us. But his reputation is now in tatters. No psychoanalyst outside of New York City practices Freudian analysis. His theories of psychosexual development are ridiculed, and his interpretation of dreams reads like a B-grade fantasy novel. Now, okay, now some social scientists would say, that's not us. We are experimentalists. And sometimes there are good experiments. But here's one of my favorites. I heard this just the other day. Psychologists put two strangers in a waiting room. Two situations. In one, there is a smartphone. In another, neither has a smartphone. Drum roll, please. What did they discover? When there was a smartphone, there was less verbal interaction between these two than there was when there was none. So in other words, cell phones are distracting. So your parents, your friends, your lovers, your professors, your classmates, they didn't know that, okay? But now we all know that cell phones are distracting. But there's one other real kicker to this. It turned out that it was an international effort, Canadian and American psychologists. No one country alone could take on that feat. Everyone seems to be excited about STEM, okay? We've heard about some of the wonderful things that technology has done. Medical science in particular has really been extraordinary. And digital technology and the internet is something that has an impact on every aspect of our lives. But none of these advances is without blemish. If you think that medical science is great, think of the opioid crisis and what happens when medications are unbridled. The Industrial Revolution changed our economy in extraordinary ways, but also introduced a new kind of poverty, as well as introducing enormous social disruption. Now, speaking of technology, that same technology that allows us to connect with everybody all the time also allows Google and Facebook and others to spy on us, to undermine our privacy, and to threaten our democracy. But that's not too high a price to pay for the ability to share photos of our latest dessert with our 10,000 closest friends. Now, there's something else that bugs me about scientists. They do some good stuff. I don't deny that. But they also spend time on really small, unimportant things. Good example. A mathematician spent years establishing the largest prime number. It is over 25 digits long. Now, you may sleep easier tonight knowing that. Or you may be kept awake by the anxiety of wondering, what's the next biggest prime number? Big Bang, same thing. Great idea and a pretty good TV show. But how old is the universe? Some say it's 13.82 billion years old. Others will argue vigorously, no, it is 13.77 billion years old. Can't we just say it's like really old and move on? Ah, the humanities. These are dearer to my heart. In fact, I used to practice the darker arts among them. Now, you will hear, as we did, humanists claiming the great works of literature and art and music and dance, as if the etymological link between humanities and humanity proves how important they are for society. And no way. Though the people who produce those wonderful works, whether it's Mozart, Toni Morrison, Michelangelo, just to stick to the M's, they're extraordinary. But that's not what humanists do, okay? Scholars don't produce those works, they study them, often unto their death. Take the case of the epic poet Homer. We know so little about him after all these years that it has been theorized that the author of the Iliad and the Odyssey was not Homer, but another poet of the same name. Yet this ignorance doesn't stop classical scholars from producing oodles and oodles of scholarship. In fact, it is highly unlikely that someone working on Homer today can even make an original mistake. Well, if it's not going to be those scholars, what about philosophy? We heard something about philosophy. And you'd think that they would be spending their time on the important issues of ethics and justice. But they're much happier in the abstruse contours of epistemology, ontology, and metaphysics. Losing proposition. There's a reason Socrates was put to death. Now, my own posse, literary critics, they might hold out hope, but they rather engage in obfuscatory jargon, which is their language of choice. In short, I tremble for humankind.
All right, they've all made their case, and now there's time for rebuttal. Let's wait till we get the timer set here.
Three.
Three.
Yeah.
2 for John.
I got a lot of complaints. So first of all, as a representative of the social sciences who apparently never win this thing, we can all agree that everyone loves an underdog, right? So there have been many good points made, but again, as a social scientist, I'm going to behave like a politician and ignore all of them entirely and talk about something else completely. So I'm going to tell you a story that I think is going to illustrate one of the most important things that the social sciences do. So what that is we care a lot about the institutions that surround us and support us. We care a lot about what you can think of as the rules of the game. So I have a personal story that will, I think, display how important the rules of the game are. So when I was a young child, I had 2 sisters. I still have 2 sisters, but we're all older now. And we would play board games together. So, can't see, this is me. I'm very upset, pointing a water pistol at my older sister, Abby. So Abby was always very frustrating at board games. She had a great memory. She had a great feel for people. She knew what you had done, what you were going to do. She was very much in line with the humanities. She was a humanist, I think. I have another sister, Karen, my younger sister, also the humanities, they're definitely to blame for this outfit. No social scientist comes up with that. Karen has a great feel for numbers. She knows probabilities. She could always kind of predict what was going to happen next in the games, the board games that we would play. So Abby, humanist, great memory. Karen, natural sciences, great with numbers. John, largely useless in most meaningful dimensions. When we would play board games, though, 9 times out of 10, I would beat my sisters. Do you know why? Because I cheated. I was a budding social scientist. I knew that the rules were important, and I didn't care. I wanted to break them and win. They were not social scientists, so they didn't stop me. And as a result, I would win. We need the social sciences because institutions matter. The rules of the game matter. They matter so much that other things come second to them. We need the social sciences because we don't want cheating bastards like this little guy to win.
Is there a mark on my head? All right. Props number 2. You gonna vote for a cheater? All right, so start serious for a second. I would like to say that I feel that humanities and the social sciences have something very important in common, and that is a very human element. And I'm going to argue that natural sciences is important to save in many regards because it does not start with that premise. Okay? Evolution, it is a myth that we as human beings are at the pinnacle of evolution. Okay? And yet, I think many people feel that way. And many of the examples that you've heard tonight are based not on something wrong with the natural sciences, but more so with the human element of that aspect. Nothing, I think, is more at the core of existence than the reality and the natural world. It is everything. It is our environment. It is who we are. We are not controllers of that. We are part of it, okay? If we're going to solve climate change, for example, we have to recognize that it's not just us, all right? So that's what I'll say. I'll say that natural sciences should be saved because, in many regards, we don't have the emphasis on the human. And I think that if you look at history, that is where maybe a lot of the problems came to be. Okay, very negative ending, but I need to point something out. This is where I'm just going to flip the script a little bit. Today is a very special day. Do you know what today is?
Pi Day.
Very good. That's got to work in the natural scientist's favor, right? Okay, so given that it's Pi Day, I thought I would have my daughters come up, Kaylin and Jenna. Come on. And in celebration, they get to throw some pies in my face. Not my colleagues' faces, my face. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill these up. There we go, nice and good. This takes a while. I did not do a dry run of this, so here we go. All right. Okay, so put the towel down. There you go. All right, so I'm just going to end the importance of Pi Day. The fact that you all knew it was Pi Day makes the choice clear that you want the natural science. Would you stop eating the pie? All right, here we go. Ready? 16 seconds. Come here, both of you, same time. Okay, whoa, no. You're supposed to put the pie. Okay, go ahead, quick. Running out of time. Go ahead, Jenna. Happy Pi Day, everybody. Clean that up later.
Humanities! Okay, so what the humanities do is we use critical thinking and historical context to question the premise and figure out if we can do better. And so my argument tonight is that the raft debate is a neoliberal sham that pits us against each other when we want to collaborate. And so what I want to give you right now is a 3-word chant. And you all know the political power of a 3-word chant. And that is, let's be friends. 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 You didn't know the word.
Told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's DOA. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to fall, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before. I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too. You're still in bed.
That's it for me.
Thank you, Rachel. While I was listening to my fellow islanders, I was inspired by the muse, and I also had an epiphany. So let me share my musings. I was jotting them down as I was listening, in the form of 3 limericks, one for each of them.
Oh, no.
The sciences social are so lame, always looking for someone to blame for the economy's blight or our policy's plight. They leave nothing better than when they came. Now, no, we got 2 more, don't worry. Movers and shakers in matters STEM. They huff and they puff, they haw and they hem. New knowledge they create about things tiny and great, but their theories lead to deep REM. Though scholarship they produce in full spate, humanists are prone to bemoan their fate. They love to whine and complain, although they ought to refrain and focus on literature great. That just came to me while I was listening. My epiphany. I realized that I've been wrong about this whole debate. The problem is not the contributions that these areas can make, but that each one of them, with some exception from my humanist colleagues, we're humanists together, want to go it alone. And that's what is fundamentally wrong with this. The huge problems that face us when we get off this damn island, okay? They are deep, profound, complex, and they are deeply rooted in our lives. We're going to need everybody involved. Someone mentioned climate change earlier. That is not solely, or even chiefly, a scientific or technological problem. It is a social issue, it's a technological and scientific issue. It is also an issue for our ethics. We have to have a profound understanding of what we are doing to our planet and what we are doing to each other. We're William and Mary, damn it. I guess I shouldn't say damn it considering my position. Right? We value the liberal arts. We value breadth of study, the integration of knowledge, and the multiple perspectives in all that we do. And yet here, three very talented colleagues have argued partisanly for the unique value of their disciplines. This is not the William and Mary way. Finally, I brought a friend. This is Hedgie the Hedgehog. Archilochus, writing a long time ago, said, "The fox knows many things. The hedgehog one." That's a cute hedgehog. A great one. And what the hedgehog knows is not a single technical skill, but rather it has a panoptic, comprehensive view of the world's interconnectedness and how to help us all survive in it. Now, I know that there's only space for one in that raft, but I hope Hedgie can sneak on too. He will be a wonderful symbol for what we need to do, and he can't swim.
Aww.
So now it's time for a few questions from the audience. Do we have any? Don't be shy. Hands up so I can see, and I'm finding a light.
You
Nobody?
can borrow one of my hands.
Oh, over there. Okay.
No. He is offended at the question. You know how soft he is.
Other question.
There's Virginia.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I don't know.
Oh. Yes.
If we vote for the devil's advocate, shouldn't we worry about a turtle coming and an eagle dropping a turtle on his head?
No. Hedgehog will protect me. Hedgie will protect me. What's on? Ooh. What's going on here? That happened
Oh, there's
overnight.
a
I don't know what
question
happened.
back there.
Natural sciences! Life sciences? Hello, people.
He's putting thumbs
Every
down.
being has inherent dignity and worth, even Hedgie.
No, Hedgie's putting thumbs
I
down.
make no promises. It's hard to tell what people will do.
Especially the social scientists.
Other questions?
If the rules of institutions matter, why do you cheat?
Got to work within the institutions I was faced with. I think they matter for other people.
One last question. Do we have, I see a hand back there.
Give me a second.
Well, I don't know about you, but I find it really difficult to choose between the four. I think they did a terrific job. So first, let's give them a really warm round of applause. So given that I can't decide, I need your help. And what we're going to do is I'm going to call each of the participants, and I want you to clap and scream and stamp and do whatever you want to make the most noise for the person you want to win. And we're going to use science, or at least technology. We actually have a sound meter. And we will record who gets the loudest, makes the most noise, or gets the most noise from you. So, are you ready? All right, first, Professor Lopresti for the social sciences. All right, ready? Now we have Professor Lamar for the natural and computational sciences.
Come on! Woo!
Okay, are we ready? Yep, we're ready. Next, we have Professor Blazer for the humanities. And now, Professor Halloran, the devil's advocate.
Hey, this guy. Come on.
Shameless, shameless.
Come on, keep going, keep going.
We're trying to vote for Hedgie.
Let's go separate vote. I know.
Now we consult.
The winner's pretty clear.
It is really close. Really close. Anybody want to take a guess?
Yeah.
I think it's Hedgie and the devil's advocate.
There's that music again. There you go. Good job.
Fine.
We'll hang out. Yeah.
Form your committees. Go ahead.
We got a committee. We're going to tell them.
We got whipped cream, man. We're good.
I like this.
Oh, it's fish cream.
So once again, let's please thank all of them for the tremendous effort they did in their participation. And I thank all of you for coming and being part of this. Thank you very much.
Great job, Annie. That was fun.